We came from a group of churches back in 1952, I think it was, that were basically coming out of World War II and saying, we want to focus on community and peace and work together towards those means and ends.
DMARC in its original form was a part of that energy in the 50s, that we needed to actually work together.
I really sort of attribute Des Moines Area Council of Churches, now DMARC, as the initiator of what we now know as the Oak Ridge neighborhood.
And then they brought in the Jewish community, and then we've expanded to other faith communities.
If I can't learn from someone else's faith tradition, I'm a closed person. It doesn't change my faith to learn from someone else. It strengthens it, and it strengthens my regard for other people's faith journeys. And DMARC creates a space for that is really unique here.
Harold and Virginia Vars were our neighbors, and we learned very quickly that Harold was one of the founding people for DMARC. This was a very big mission for them.
He was just this warm, friendly guy that would do anything for anybody. I mean, you could go to him and say, hey Harold, I need $10, and he'd probably pull out his wallet and give you $10.
Very soft-spoken, very mild-mannered, very organized, and very methodical. I mean, he knew how things were going to go before he put them together.
I mean, I can't think of anything bad that anybody ever said about Harold. He was just a very incredibly loving man that was creative and outgoing. I think I've known about DMARC my entire life because my parents were both involved with DMARC. But my first memory is probably of a food drive back in about 1976, so I think it might have been one of the first ones done for DMARC, and it was with my youth group at church. And I remember going and hauling it to the basement at, I think it was Central Presbyterian Church. So, and helping them stock the shelves. I was probably about 11 or 12 years old.
We were in a separate warehouse that had been built on purpose. It was like a humongous garage.
I remember going to the old location on Douglas Avenue, right off of Douglas, that tiny, tiny building, and helping sort donations.
Well, just imagine the size of approximately a two-car garage.
The old warehouse, which I sort of jokingly refer to as the garage, it was obviously very, very small.
And there would be boxes of cereal going way up like this.
The downside of it, because of the size, was that we were only able to hold enough food to get us by for a week. So at the end of the day, Friday, it was empty.
We could only haul so much in and out of that small little tin can of a building.
The fact that we put through the amount of food that we did in that building is beyond belief. I mean, miraculous would be a perfect word.
They only could do what they could do at the time when they were in a little mobile home, and then all the pantries were just doing what they could get done. And it's amazing how DMARC has grown in just the last 20 years.
Everybody loved Forrest. He was just a great guy.
Well, he was our perfect boss. He was so good about bringing people of different faiths together.
A wonderful reputation in the city as somebody that could reach across all denominations and bring people into this work of making sure basic needs were met.
Dick Holst, who was a member there, was one of the originators with the Red Barrel program. I think Kiwanis may have started it, but Duke was also very involved with that.
He was a driving force behind the Red Barrel program, and consequently we got involved with it, and then we went to Kiwanis, and Kiwanis really pushed the Red Barrel program.
So Sarah and I both started about the same time, and so she was amazing, and she was so professional, and she was able to bring DMARC up to fit all the community's needs.
Sarah is an excellent leader, and I think she noticed what the needs at DMARC were.
She had enthusiasm for helping people, and it lifted us. It lifted members of my church and helped us become better people. So that's really what Sarah means to me, is someone who lifts you and help you become a better person within your own space, but also within the broader space in the community.
I really saw just the respect that she garnered in rooms because of her authentic leadership and her willingness to bring up things that maybe weren't talked about in the food access space, and her making the decision to pivot and really focus on, what DMARC could be doing to not just give people food, but give people good food.
She was a strong leader for DMARC, but she was also a leader in the community. And a leader, whenever I served with her on any kind of committee or whatever, she gravitated more as a leader to, for other people. And I do feel that a lot of people totally respect her. When Aubrey Alvarez and I started Greater Des Moines, we rented some space, or maybe we didn't even rent, but we were in the DMARC building for a period of time.
I couldn't have started Greater Des Moines if there wasn't a paid position to do it. And so the foresight that DMARC and United Way had, really, we wouldn't be here without them.
That move to 1435 was, that was amazing.
There was an instant just upsurge of energy that was based in what we were seeing happening on the street, being a part of what was going on downtown at that point. It was like everybody's brain just went, ooh, and we could think new thoughts because we weren't in a tiny cramped space that was behind everything and it was hard to get anywhere. We were now sort of in the center of what was going on.
Absolutely game-changing. It revolutionized everything about sort of how we could operate and keep expanding the food pantry network. For the first time ever, we had larger walk-in cooler space and freezer space.
Just being able to use pallets and pallet jacks was a huge evolution in how we were able to do things.
Still consciously remember the first time we saw that warehouse, it was like we could never fill this up.
And we thought, oh, this is fabulous, we'll never outgrow that space. And within 2 years, we'd outgrown that space. Joe Dolick helped me a lot with the ideas, and we came up with the mobile program.
I ended up becoming the mobile food pantry manager.
What mobile allowed us to do was to get closer to where people were.
They're handicap accessible, people can shop. We have coolers and freezers in the mobiles, intake desks. They worked through the pandemic really well too, to go out and serve people where they're at.
So the closer you can get the food to the people that need it, I think the better the system works.
We've been able to expand where we are at and where we're going with the mobile food pantry, and it's just opening up other opportunities for us.
It was a little intimidating coming into the leadership role of this position, as far as I know, as the first lay leader to hold this office. I think me and the team here, we've picked up where leaders before us have left off and are really trying to take things to that next step, be that much better for those that we assist. We were not well suited where we were to be able to meet the needs of the community.
Because we were storing food in one space that was provided to us by the city of Des Moines and Polk County, and having to move it back and forth.
This space, I joke about this some, like we now have like a walk-in freezer that's as big as our old warehouse on 36th Street. That's obviously not enough can be said about what kind of opportunities that presents.
We are going to be so much more efficient. We have at least 3 times the space that we previously did.
When you increase your storage capacity like we have here, it really opens up what's possible around the kinds of things that we can have across our food pantry network.
So it helps the whole system by us having enough space and the ability to store these items.
It's humbling to come to an organization that's been around for 68 years when I came here, and know that this is a much greater thing than me, than our entire team here that has been going for a very long time, and just the responsibility to keep that going and make sure we're honoring that history and moving it forward.
I feel like I'm honoring the legacy of my parents, but also the community as a whole. And to know that this organization is strong and going to be able to continue on after I leave the organization or after I'm no longer on this earth, I think is really a wonderful thing.
Like I've said, I think every leader of this organization has had the community at heart first, and I think if every leader going forward takes that same approach, DMARC will have another 70 years of doing good things, and who knows what's possible.